Do you know why Alexander the Great, history's most formidable conqueror, held Achilles in such high regard? Do you know that within the annals of recorded history, there are tales even Greek mythology has left untold? Imagine a world where heroes aren't mere legends, but step forth from ancient memory to confront mortals who dare defy fate. Today we'll unravel a story never before revealed. A story where Achilles, the invincible hero of Troy, didn't perish under Paris's arrow, but was elevated to godhood by the divine. And then, in a warped reality, he faced Alexander the Great, a king whose ambition drove him to conquer from Greece to India, leaving an indelible mark on history. This isn't a tale of admiration from the start, but a journey toward a defining moment where a god and a man collided. Sparking the question, why did Alexander come to revere Achilles? Join us as we step into this saga, a clash between god and mortal, fate and will, where the wheel of history is tested by those who shape it. Subscribe now to witness legendary battles where gods clash with kings and myths come alive like never before. Summary: what if Achilles didn't die? In traditional Greek mythology, I, Achilles, met my end at Troy when Paris's arrow, guided by Apollo, struck my heel. The sole vulnerability left after my mother Thetis dipped me in the River Styx. But in the series What If Achilles Didn't Die, the tale shifts. During my duel with Hector, I didn't slay him after my victory, but spared his life, moved by respect for his courage. This act touched Apollo, the sun god, and when Paris later loosed his fatal arrow, Apollo intervened, deflecting it. Zeus, witnessing my rare compassion, granted me immortality right after the Trojan War, 1200 BCE, elevating me to a liminal realm, not quite Olympus, but a place where I existed beyond time, imbued with divine power and mortal memories. This series continues with me, through a pact with Zeus, incarnating as Prince Ochus of Persia to challenge Alexander the Great at Gaugamela, 331 BCE, where fate decreed Alexander would defeat Darius III. Can I alter the wheel of history, or is destiny unyielding? The story, prophecy and pact. I stood on the blood-soaked plains of Troy, where once mighty walls now lay as heaps of ash. I am Achilles, son of Peleus and Thetis, the hero hailed by the Greeks for felling Hector, paving the way for our ultimate victory. But today I am no longer mortal. My duel with Hector changed me. I didn't kill him, though I could have. As he knelt before me, blood seeping from his wounds, I saw not fear, but a warrior's pride in his eyes. I dropped my sword, saying, "You deserve more than this death, Hector. Return to your family." That choice, unexpected even to me, altered my fate. Paris, Hector's brother, later fired an arrow at my heel, the flaw my mother couldn't shield when she dipped me in the Styx. Yet it didn't strike true. A blinding light enveloped me from the heavens, and Apollo appeared, declaring, "You've transcended war's brutality, Achilles. I grant you life." Soon after, I was summoned to Mount Olympus, standing before Zeus, king of the gods, whom even the greatest heroes revere. I was no longer a mortal of flesh and blood. I was a god, immortal, with power surpassing humanity, yet my heart brimmed with questions. "Zeus, Lord of Olympus," I began, my voice echoing through the sacred expanse. "I have become a god, immortal like you." But I must know, is there truly a creator, an omnipotent being above even the gods, who fashioned you and me and all the mortals below? Zeus regarded me, his eyes flashing like lightning, but his voice was calm, resonant as an echo from the abyss. Achilles, you were made a god for your courage and compassion, yet you are still young in this immortal realm. There is a creator, an ultimate will that crafted everything, from the gods of Olympus to the tiniest creatures of the earth. Even I, king of the gods, cannot surpass that will. The fates of gods and men are shaped by its unseen hand. I frowned, unsatisfied. Then if all is preordained, what is my power for? I am immortal, with wisdom and strength beyond mortals. I wish to test that fate, to push the wheel of history off the path the Creator has laid. Zeus laughed, a sound that thundered through Olympus's white clouds. You are arrogant, Achilles, but I admire that arrogance. You think you can alter destiny? I'll grant you a chance, a trial by pact. I'll send you to the mortal world once more, incarnated into a human, to face a man destined to shake history. If you prevail, I'll acknowledge your power transcends fate. If you fail, you must admit even gods cannot defy the Creator's will. I stood tall, my spear trembling as if mirroring the burning desire within me. I agree, I said, my voice firm as it had been facing Hector at Troy. But tell me, who is this mortal? Zeus nodded, a glint of mystery in his eyes. His name is Alexander, a mortal from Macedonia, born millennia after your time. I see the wheel of history turning around him. At Gaugamela, he will defeat Darius III of Persia, paving the way for a vast empire. Your task is to stop him, to derail that wheel from the course fate has set. I smiled, a thrill coursing through me as if mortal blood still flowed in my veins. Alexander, I repeated, savoring the name of a worthy foe. I'll face him, and prove my power surpasses even fate. Zeus raised his hand, lightning arcing from his fingers to tear open a rift in reality within Olympus's expanse. But he added, his voice a low warning, I consent, but with conditions, Achilles. In the mortal world, you'll wield only your primal strength. As you fought at Troy, no magic, no divine powers beyond that. You'll incarnate into a human from birth, unaware of your true self until your 17th year, on the night of a lunar eclipse in that kingdom. You'll live as a mortal, grow as a mortal, until destiny awakens you. Should you fail, you'll forever bear witness to humanity's might. I nodded without hesitation. I accept, I declared, stepping toward the rift. Let me see how strong this Alexander is, and whether his wheel of history can withstand Achilles' spear. Zeus said no more, watching with an inscrutable gaze as I crossed the threshold, light enveloping me, pulling me to a realm thousands of years beyond Troy, into a kingdom called Persia. The scene shifts to Susa, the Persian capital, in 343 BCE, where Queen Statera, wife of Darius III, had just given birth to a boy, Prince Ochus, her youngest son. That night, as moonlight streamed through the royal tent's window, a shimmering glow from the reality rift appeared. I, Achilles, emerged from the light, gazing down at the infant in his cradle, his innocent eyes meeting mine with naive curiosity. You are my vessel, I whispered, and my divine essence merged into that fragile form. Ochus wailed, but as his cries ceased, his gaze transformed, deep, piercing, bearing the mark of an immortal god. Statera, roused by the sound, rushed to the cradle, stunned as the light faded, and Ochus met her with eyes no longer those of a child. Ochus, she whispered, but he didn't respond. In my mind, Achilles' memories began to meld with this body, awaiting the day I'd fully awaken. Darius III, newly ascended after King Arsus's assassination, entered, noting his son's uncanny stare. "He's no ordinary child," Statira said, her voice trembling. "A god has chosen him. I dreamed of an ancient Greek warrior, saying he'd thwart our greatest foe." Darius frowned, but Ochus's gaze, my gaze, silenced him. "If it's true," he said, "he'll be Persia's weapon. I grew as Ochus, from a frail boy into a youth bearing Achilles' primal strength. No magic, no divine gifts, only the physical power and intellect I'd wielded at Troy. In those early years, I didn't fully recall being Achilles. Zeus's pact sealed my memories, leaving only vague dreams of blood-strewn battlefields and galloping horses. Yet I stood apart. I felled sparring foes with a single spear thrust at age 10, instilling fear in my elder brothers. Darius regarded me with a mix of pride and suspicion, while Statera whispered to me nightly, "You are Persia's destiny, Ochus." By my 17th year, in 326 BCE, a lunar eclipse plunged Susa into eerie darkness. I stood alone outside the palace, gazing at the shrouded sky. A flash from the reality rift ignited my mind, and Achilles' memories flooded back. I recalled Troy, Hector, and my pact with Zeus. Gripping a wooden spear, I felt my primal strength return, whispering, "Alexander, I've come to stop you." Yet deep within I wondered, could Zeus be right, that even gods are mere tools of the Creator? Alexander the Great, now 25, had just defeated Darius III at Issus in 333 BCE. A battle I, Ochus, learned of through whispers in the Susa palace, as my mortal memories slowly intertwined with my divine essence. After that victory, Alexander released Darius, sending a confident message, "I wish to subdue, not slay you." It was the first I'd heard of him through Persian envoys, back when I was a boy yet to awaken my godly strength. But Darius, his pride wounded after Issus, returned to fortify his forces at Gaugamela, entrusting me, Ochus, Achilles incarnate, with the Immortals, Persia's elite, to confront the foe he deemed the Empire's gravest threat. I knew the coming battle at Gaugamela would be my greatest test, not just because Alexander commanded a formidable army, but because of my pact with Zeus. I had to use my primal strength and intellect, devoid of magic or divine might, to derail the wheel of history the Creator had set, preventing Alexander's victory at Gaugamela, where fate had decreed he'd crush Persia and forge an empire stretching from Greece to India. Alexander was born on July the 20th or 21st, 356 BCE, in Pella, Macedonia's capital, as his father, Philip II, began unifying Greece's city-states under a single alliance. Philip II, a military genius, had transformed Macedonia from a minor kingdom into a power to be reckoned with, reforming its army with the phalanx, long spear formations drilled to precision, and a potent cavalry. Alexander's mother, Olympias, was a princess of Epirus, a mountainous western Greek region known for its devoutness and belief in the divine. Daughter of King Neoptolemus V of the Molossian lineage, she was a fierce, ambitious woman determined to see her son eclipse his father. Alexander's childhood unfolded in Pella's bustling palace, a modest city alive with markets, forges, and barracks. Historical accounts note his exceptional intelligence, though not without challenges. In 343 BCE, at age 13, Philip summoned Aristotle, Plato's disciple and one of antiquity's greatest minds, from Stagira to tutor him at Miessa, a quiet retreat near Pella. Aristotle taught him philosophy, science, medicine, and literature for about 3 years, until 340 BCE, when Alexander, at 16, saw his mentor depart, leaving him with a sharp strategic mind and a thirst for knowledge. A notable incident occurred in 344 BCE, when Alexander was around 12. Philip purchased an untamable horse, Bucephalus, from a Thessalian merchant for 13 talents, a vast sum, equivalent to hundreds of kilograms of silver. None in the Macedonian court could master it. The beast reared and kicked, daunting even seasoned warriors. Observing, Alexander noticed it feared its own shadow in the sunlight. Ignoring Philip's warnings, he approached, turned Bucephalus toward the sun to banish the shadow, and mounted it calmly. Riding it around the courtyard, he prompted Philip to exclaim, "My son, seek a kingdom worthy of you. Macedonia is too small." In 340 BCE, at 16, Philip appointed Alexander regent of Macedonia while he campaigned against Byzantium. During this tenure, Alexander proved his military prowess by quelling a Mede tribe revolt in Thrace, northern Greece. He not only defeated them, but founded Alexandropolis, his first city, marking his initial imprint on Greece's map. His life changed irrevocably in 336 BCE, at 20, when Philip was assassinated at Aegi during his daughter Cleopatra's wedding. As Philip entered the theatre unarmed, demonstrating trust in his newly formed Corinthian League, a guard, Pausanias, stabbed him with a dagger, leaving him dead in a pool of blood before the crowd. Historians debate the motive. Some attribute it to Pausanias' personal grudge against Philip, who refused to punish an offender against him. Others suspect Olympias or Alexander orchestrated it. Alexander shed no tears. Ascending the throne with steely resolve, he declared, "I'll fulfill my father's dream, my way." He swiftly executed suspected conspirators, including Pausanias, caught fleeing, and quelled Greek revolts. In 335 BCE, Alexander faced a major challenge when Thebes rebelled against Macedonian rule. Leading 30,000 troops south, he besieged the city, and after it refused surrender, razed it, killing 6,000, enslaving 30,000, sparing only temples and Pindars home as a warning. Returning to Macedonia, he prepared to invade Persia, Philip's unfulfilled dream. In 334 BCE, he crossed the Hellespont with 40,000 men, launching his campaign, and by 333 BCE defeated Darius III at Issus, releasing him with the message, "I wish to subdue, not slay you." I, Ochus, Achilles incarnate, learned of these feats through envoys as I grew in Susa. But when my divine memories awoke during the lunar eclipse of 326 BCE, I saw Alexander as Zeus's challenge. Gaugamela would pit me against him, my primal strength tasked with halting the wheel of history he drove. Yet I wondered, could I alter fate, or was Zeus right, that even gods are tools of the Creator? The pact is sealed, the stage set. Achilles, reborn as Ochus, prepares to face Alexander at Gaugamela, a clash that will test the limits of God and man. What happens when a boy prince awakens as a god in a crumbling empire? In the next chapter, witness Ochus's rise, his early battles with Alexander's scouts, and the first sparks of a rivalry that will shake history's wheel. Will Achilles' primal might sway fate, or will Alexander's mortal brilliance prevail? Subscribe now to join us on this epic journey. Don't miss the next chapter of this untold saga, where every strike could rewrite destiny.